Well, the day has finally come for the launch of Rise of the Ronin, and today we're gonna give it a shot because I've heard some mixed things about this game. Reviews just dropped and they are relatively mixed, with a Metacritic landing in the mid-70s. Combat system, but that many parts of the game feel outdated and also conflicted. And this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who is familiar with Team Ninja games. They make games that are amazingly in-depth with the combat system. They rival the likes of From Software in many ways, but with pretty much everything else, they really struggle. But this game seemed to have a lot of potential, and that's why a lot of people were really stoked for it. And in the meantime, let's see what the game actually has to offer and boot in. They also specify, of course, kind of standard affair with historically inspired games, that it's inspired by real history, but it's not trying to copy anything or tell a story one-to-one. Well, that's pretty.
3 centuries ago, Japan was unified under the Tokugawa shogunate. It closed its doors to the rest of the world. For a time, the island nation prospered.
Okay.
Yet despite its apparent tranquility, conflict brewed beneath the surface.
I mean, I can already tell it's in engine, but it's not the prettiest game.
In public, they were loyal. But the coals of discontent were slowly being fanned towards conflagration.
That's a cool transition. I'll give them that.
Kurosu, weapons were secretly forged in preparation for rebellion. But the Shogun's forces got wind of the plan and took terrible and bloody reprisals.
Oops. Oh god. That's intense.
They did not count on
Got.
another type of weapon being forged in Kurosu. Warriors known as the Veiled Edge. Skilled in both subterfuge and the way of the sword, these nameless assassins were unmatched in their abilities.
Oops.
Under the tutelage of a master, the Bladesmith, they honed their skills in pairs called Blade Twins.
Go!
Separately,
Don't mess with grandma. Okay.
together, unstoppable. Blade Twins are forever tied together by the bonds of fate.
Ooh. So this is actually something not many people knew about, and it wasn't really advertised before the game started. There's actually 2 selectable playable characters, which they didn't really advertise, didn't really talk about, but like that's kind of cool. Who knew? I didn't know this until I was talking with Joel Raptor, who got early access to this game, did a big review on it. You should go check out on his channel. And he mentioned, you know, earlier last week that there were 2 playable characters and they kind of tie in to the story in interesting ways. And I was like, why didn't they talk about that in the marketing? Like, it's nowhere to be found in any marketing that I've seen. So it was just very, very surprising. And I don't know why they chose to just not mention it, but now, elephant in the room, you're not playing these games for the graphics. You know, it's pretty rare to get a game that has like a top of the industry level of combat system, you know, and then also amazing graphics and fidelity and stuff. It's not super common, which is why when you get it with like amazing art direction and it just looks very visually stunning, it ends up being like game of the year, like something like Elden Ring or something else. But in this case, it's serviceable. Like, you can play this game, but it definitely feels like I'm looking at a PS4 game. In 2024, there are certain graphical standards that have had the bar raised. You know, I think it's fair that we expect more from games that are full price $70 games, which is what this is. This is $70. It's a lot of cachet, a lot of moolah. When I paid $70, like for $70, I can get a package that's really, really impressive and is visually stunning and everything, and that runs a bit better for the same price. You know, and so for some people, it's a non-issue. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to talk about it. But I will stand up for the people that are a little frustrated by this, where each of the main story missions kind of do like a fade out, fade in. It's like a separate area. It's not fluid or all part of the same world instance. Each encounter for the story is kind of a separate little bitty thing, which is reflected in like their classic traditional design, how Team Ninja has previously done things, but it's not what's standard for open world games. And this is something that comes up time and time again when you look at Rise of the Ronin and when you talk about it and play it, is that it feels like a game that's a really cool first outing for a team trying to do an open world game that traditionally hasn't done this type of thing before. And you can tell this is not what they typically do. They usually are doing the more linear types of games with really intense boss battles and big encounters like that. They're not usually doing this type of thing. And there are some growing pains as a result with like weird main quest design, with weirdly paced encounters, with technical issues when you go into cities or areas with big groups of people, things like that. Yeah, I mean, already I can tell the strong suit through and through. Combat's great. It's super tight. Hitboxes are super precise. Enemy animations are fair. Nothing feels cheap. Like, you can tell this is where they are at their most comfortable. Oh God. Oh my God. But maybe technical stuff is not their strong suit. So again, I mean, combat system, amazing. I have no complaints. As you would expect from Team Ninja, it is a strong suit. They are very, very good at it. And it's tight, it's responsive, it feels fair, it's relatively intuitive, at least as far as combat systems can be. I think they've actually started falling further and further behind in presentation, because I think Neo 2 and Neo the original for their time looked very good. And yeah, they probably weren't going to win like best graphics of the year or anything, but they still looked and ran pretty damn well, at least from what I recall. But nowadays, Wolong Fallen Dynasty looked like one gigantic burnt chicken nugget that you were running around on. And then in this game, it just looks like someone took a fistful of Vaseline and smeared it all over my display because it's so blurry. And that probably doesn't come through in a YouTube video when you're watching like on your phone or computer screen, or maybe if you're watching this on your TV or something. But when you're actually playing it, it's just not up to snuff for modern games that are charging $70, in my opinion. As a result, I think it's more like a wait for sale in that sense. And especially as we start to get into more of the open world systems and stuff, the game starts to fall even further and further behind the technological curve.